I finished this 110 and I thought while it's still up in the air, we'll have a quick visual look around for newbies who want to buy a Defender. Now, word of caution, these are 25-year-old European cast-offs, because obviously I'm in Canada, same applies for North America. See, in Canada vehicles can only come in if they're over 15 years old, and the United States is 25 years old now, and they have to be in original condition. They can't be modified with different engines and things in the States, that is. In Canada they don't care. But the thing is that finding an original 25-year-old Land Rover is going to be an absolute rot box. But that's okay in the States. It doesn't matter if the chassis is rotten, as long as the VIN number matches up to the vehicle description, hey, fine. And then they rebuild them. That's why the Americans spend so much money building Defenders up. So, we're not going to do that. But what we're going to do is have a beginner's or a newbie's look around a Defender, a visual on the outside first, and say, this is not so good, a potential problem. Now, I have to admit that Land Rovers aren't the best of vehicles in the world, but there are a lot of parts available for them. But that's the problem, especially for us over here, that everything has to be imported. Just about everything has to be imported, and you pay for the importation. It gets bloody expensive. Even for the most trivial bits and pieces, you think, oh, I'll be able to get brake pads for it. No, you can't. If they're already here, there's an awful lot of dealers now selling parts here. You know, they import them in bulk and then they resell them, but no, I got out of that a long time ago, waste of time. So let's have a look around this one. I'm going to put the camera on in my hand, so it'll be a bit shaky. But we'll just have a quick walk around and see what potential problems there are. The first thing that strikes you immediately is the amount of checker plate and the size of checker plate. Now granted, there are some checker plate pieces that are acceptable, like the wing tops and also the sill protectors. But when you get things like that triangular pattern and the door bottoms, you know you're into problems. You can tell straight away they're hiding something, because that's not protection. They don't get kicked or anything like that. It's covering some corrosion. It has to do. And again, the same when we look at the back of a vehicle. You know, when you've got checker plate, like 50% of it is checker plate, you know there's hiding something. And what is it? There is no reason for it. The back doors on Defenders always rust out. Always rust out. They're a notorious thing. You can't really fix them properly, not unless you've got a lot of time. You can buy a new door skin. But they have a lot of problems with corrosion at the door bottoms. This one's a particularly strange beast because it's been covered in foil, like a padded tape, an insulated tape. That to me would be saying, no, that's going to keep water in. I don't know what's hiding under there. But I'd be a lot wary of that. Look, just a quick one while I'm thinking. Check the exhaust system out. Make sure the exhaust system is up to, it's salvageable, it's good. Because importing an exhaust from Europe is very expensive. They're not all that heavy. They're not all that heavy, but they're bulky and they cost a damn fortune in shipping. Have a quick look around the tank. See if there's any leaks or anything like that. This is a bit wet. I don't know what that is all about. But anyway, that's not our problem. What else should we have a look at? Corrosion. Now, not often you see underneath this rail here, but you can see there's rust starting to appear. These were just plain steel, primed and painted. The earlier ones were galvanized. And it's the same with these corner panels here. These were galvanized at one time and now they're just mild steel. You look, I mean, I know a Land Rover isn't all the straightest of vehicles in the world, but you're looking for the lines on the doors and things like this, like the shut lines and is it twisted? Is there a bigger gap at the top than this bottom corner? Is it, what's going on? One other thing I've noticed on this vehicle too, when we were looking around it, there's no reflectors on it. I wonder why that was. Maybe they took them off to do the checker plate. Let's have a look around this side. Oh, there's a thing to look at. Look at that. Mud flaps on Land Rovers always break off. Look at that. This one's just about to drop off. It is a genuine Land Rover one, so that's been on quite a long time. Wheels and tyres. Let's have a look at these. These are the wrong size wheels and tyres for this. The wheels are right, but the tyres are far too big. Why? Can you see where they've been catching up there? Look. Been catching on the tower. Not good. Look for any wires and things like this that have been tied up. These are all potential problems, and this is why like Land Rovers get such a bad name, you know, for wiring problems. It's not actually the Land Rover harness that's a problem, it's people putting aftermarket stuff in. Like, look at that wire there, it's not even fastened down. Dear me. Oh, there's more tape under there. Where else? Oh, you should have a look at if anybody's put any mountings in for seat belts. This one looks as if it's been done properly. You can't just put a nut and bolt through aluminium if there's extra seats in the back. Back cross member, the cross member going up for the seat. Have a look for that. That's the rear support for the front support for the tub. That should be nice and solid. These things here, rust traps. Make sure there's no corrosion around there. This chassis is not looking too bad, but when we have a look underneath it, we'll show you a few bits and pieces. Again, let's have another look at this checker plate issue. You can see here, that is 5-bar checker plate, but look at the top, it's only 4-bar, and in North America, it's single bar. So this has been done in Europe. This has been all fixed up in Europe. Any other problems we can see? Oh yeah, well, here's a telltale sign if the body's been painted before. These pop rivets here, the ones that go up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are painted after. They're not painted. They should be plain aluminium heads because they put the door frame in after this panel's been painted. If you try to understand. Oh, there's an interesting one. Wrong fuel cap. That's going to cause problems because that's not a breathable cap. So you go, knock a few bucks off that one. Sliding side windows. Let's have a look at these. It's going to be difficult. Silicone, 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 silicone. Knock a few bucks off for that. Yeah. Let's have a look under these arches. Again, the wrong size tyres. They are legal tyres for winter, but they're just too big for this car. Oops. There we are, look. Outriggers, common. They rust out like nobody's business. Oops. Inner arch has started to go. That's not a safety feature, but it's something to watch out for. You see under there, that gap. I can't point and hold the light at the same time, you see. That's my problem. My finger's not long enough. This, like I said, this is a late one because it's got the inner arches. The inner arches are fitted to it, which are kind of nice. You know, like the soundproofing plastic. But no, I don't know if they do anything. Let's have another look round. Yeah, this is I've got a feeling this is not either Dutch or German because they put the bumper end caps on. Not really sure about that. If you're going through, you know, winches are all nice to have, but nobody hardly ever uses them. Sharp corners, they're really sort of a funny thing over here for inspection, with sharp corners and things like this. You know, if you're in an accident, that'll cut you to bits. I think that's about it on the outside. Make sure all the lights are in and the lights are functioning and working. You know, oops. Another outrigger needed there. Oh, it's let's see what year it is. It's a 98. Ooh, that's interesting. 98, so it's one of the last ones. It's obviously had some work on the steering box before, because these tab washers haven't been bent over. We'll have a look underneath and see some more steering horrors in a minute. But again, keep knocking the price down. Knock it down, knock it down, knock it down, because you've got to replace that. You're not a charity, you know. I'm not going to look at the interior too much. You know, the door pillars are quite good. In fact, they're very good. They're usually all rusted out underneath here. If they're rusted out down here, then that's another thing to walk away from. So let's get the little mat chair underneath and let's have a look underneath. So let's have a look, shufty underneath, and let's see what we can see. First thing that springs to mind is these brake pipes. In Quebec, for safety inspection, you cannot use tie wraps. You cannot use cable ties for inspection. The original clip was here. It was a metal clip. They're okay, and of course you can get metal P-clips with a rubber protector for pipes. They're even better. But look at this potential problem here. See it rubbing on there? The vibration on the road can rub through that pipe and break it, thus losing fluid, thus losing the brake. You know, cable tie. I know it's trivial to a lot of you guys, it means nothing, but over here that's what you're supposed to have. One big problem I just noticed was this. The airframe mount at the top's got no split pin through it. So I think this axle's been replaced before. I'm going to put a split pin in that. You know, now I've seen it. But this axle's been out before. How can you tell? Or it's a replacement one. You see how it's flat under here? And it's flat under there? Well, if this axle was dropped, you know, taken out and dropped on the floor, so the nose went down, that would be on the floor. So that's been out before. Telltale sign that they haven't bothered putting a split pin in. Yeah, that's not good. And also, have you noticed the anti-roll bar's missing? It's supposed to have a sway bar or anti-roll bar going in here. Yeah, because it goes, the roll bar goes across here and it's got links coming down here. It's missing. Not a big deal. It's had some welding done up there. That's one thing to take notice of. The exhaust's in good condition. If you buy a Land Rover with a bad exhaust, just beware, 'cause especially if you're in North America, that's going to cost a lot of money. They're a fortune to ship across. Oh, this has got the old type of suspension on, the self-leveling suspension that never seemed to work properly. It was always, yeah, well, I don't know, it never seemed to work. Oh, another sign it's been out before. Look, it's got two breathers on the back. So one pipe is off the original 1998 and the other one's off a different Land Rover, if you see what I mean. Haha, that's different, isn't it? What else? These body supports up here, they're notorious for going. It's started to corrode on there, but it's not actually gone yet. And again, this is one of our biggest problems. We're always looking for rust. Oh, there's another little thing I just noticed. The tank mounting has only got one bolt in, and they haven't put a rubber between the tank shield and here. There's supposed to be a rubber either side of that. That wire hanging down there was for a fuel pump, so don't worry about that. Yeah, shock bushes could do with tightening up. What else can we see? I'm just having a look round as you would do if you're going to, you know, potentially buy a Land Rover. Just beware of Land Rovers that's been covered in new wax or undercoating, because it's usually hiding something. Under here, pretty good. Nothing to report there. Nothing to report there. There's a double nut on here. You know, sort of these are little shonky repairs. It's obviously had a new bushing in here, and somebody's put a double nut on. This was a nylock nut. So what's happened is probably that they've warmed up the nut to try and get it off, melted the nylon and put a double nut on. That's actually quite acceptable. It's not the end of the world, but I bet it's a bugger to get out again. They don't seem to have used any anti-seize on it at all. Under this side, pretty good. Now there's what's left of the original battery box, but as you know, they took the battery box out, and well, they took the seat base out, and put different seats in. Actually, the battery box doesn't look too bad. Salvageable. Well, it is. It would have been if it wasn't taken out. Let's have a look under here. There's little things like this bracket on here holding the exhaust stop is bent up at an extraordinary angle, thus putting stress on these rubbers. That should be actually bent down. I don't know. It's just a nitpicky. That's all. There's nothing wrong with it. The exhaust. Let's have a look at this. This is a catalytic converters. The later Defenders had some sort of emission controls on them, and it never really worked all that well. When you see smuts like this coming through, you know that it's leaking exhaust fumes. Same as underneath there, that's leaking. This has been repaired all over the place. A guy, must be his first day welding. Somebody's put a new joint in here. But by looking at the welds on here, here and here, it wouldn't surprise me. Oh yeah, there, it's all welded at the back. Somebody's taken the cone, the centre out of that catalytic converter, so there's nothing in there at all. No big deal. No big deal. Yeah, like I say, the exhaust gas circulation on 300 TDIs was a waste of time. It never worked, so a lot of people take it off. It doesn't make much of a difference. Looking at the bell housing, obviously we can see this has been out before. Bolt missing out of here, bolt missing out of here, and bolt missing out of there. I'll put new bolts in there. One thing we can pick up straight away is this steering rod. That's interesting. It's had tie rods on there, it's had a tie rod on there, and let's come back a bit and look at this, because you can see that that's got bent, that's not been off-roaded, that's been lifted up with a forklift at the front, because although it looks, you know, like the axle looks lower than the bar, when this car is on the level on the floor, the axle will go up and that bar will be level with the bottom of that axle tube. I can bet your bottom dollar on that one. Side steps, always a big problem. Filled with rust. See, that one's gone. Yeah, it's been welded and things like that. The outriggers on this side. These outriggers are always good. They don't seem to suffer too much. Let's have a look. What have we got here? It's had poly bushes in the front. I'm going to have to do something pretty serious with that spring there, because it's dropped out of its mounting. I hope it goes back in again. The one thing I don't like about lifts is that people don't put flexible hoses in to suit. They're always a bit short. Good idea, lifts. No, not really. I think they're rubbish. I think they're absolute rubbish. I'd never have a lift on a Land Rover. Always check around these little things here. These things look quite innocent, these rubber gaiters, but you know they all add up. A couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there. Oh, what the hell is this? What on earth is this thing here? That should be a stop for your wheel travel. I have never seen anything like that. Oh my goodness, look at that. That's, oh man, that's going to be a bugger to fix, isn't it? I bet they've welded the bolt on. Ooh, that's an expensive one. I wonder if they've done that when they put the big tyres on, or it was like that before. But that's going to seriously reduce the steering, because what it should be doing is like this. You see, the nut should, the bolt should be here, but even that's stuck out way too far. I bet you, because it's got these big tyres on, you see, there's not much room between. Let's get under here. There's not much room between here and here. Maybe a hand. You see what I mean? So when the steering's on full lock, it'll twist. It'll hit the radius. In fact, yep. There you go. See where the tyre's been hitting? Not good. So let's add new tie rods on. It's not too bad. Yeah. It's got a Webasto heater on, but that's been disconnected. Oh, look. Yeah, the outrigger's rusted up there. Yeah, it's rusted. That's outrigger's gone. Let's have a look at the other side. They usually go in pairs. Indeed. Indeed. Let's have a look at that. There you go. So that's another thing to look at. These are quite difficult to replace. To do them properly, there's an awful lot of cutting and grinding to replace those. People don't think. The footwells, they look original. It's hard to see what the footwells are like without ripping up all the carpets. Now, we're not, on this occasion, we're not going to go on the insides and have a look. We're not going to do the engines or anything like that. We're just having a look underneath. So you can have a look at a car, turn up, have a look around it, get a crawler, go underneath it, and see any potential problems. What's that wire there? This is nothing to do with this, but let's have a quick look at this. If that's a brown and white wire, it is. That's the oil pressure wire come off. Now why have they done that? This was supposed to have a service or oil change, but I don't know. That oil filter doesn't look like it's 2 weeks old, does it? And the switch, oil pressure switch, looks different to the wire. Oh, I could be wrong. It looks like it's got a different connector on. I actually never noticed the light come on. Oh, there's an oil leak up there, look. Can you see that one? That's a vacuum pump. You can't do nothing with them apart from putting a new one on. You can see the oil dripped on the pipe there for the clutch hose. Oh, and they put the clutch cylinder upside down. So obviously it's had some work on the gearbox. Let's look around this engine. Oh, it's had some work on the sump as well, look. Notice different bolts, different headed bolts, and lots of silicone. So what's gone wrong here? See how this, you see how that bit is washed away? That's, generally speaking, that's oil washing away, because oil usually picks up dust and dirt like it's done on this side, but this side's kept on running. If you see any oil dripping out of this plug here, the crankshaft seal's gone. The front looks nice and tidy. There's no oil coming out of the bung there, so that's good. Again, they must have had loads of different types of bolts in there. I can see on those three at the front, there's 3 different ones. So it's had some engine work done to it before. And when it gets to an oil pan or a sump, you start to wonder, what the hell is these bolts here? What's these bolts sticking out of here for? They're welded on. I wonder if it's had a snowplow on it or something. Oh, I'd say. The bumper looks okay, not too bad. These front dumb irons, they're alright. Front cross member, that's good. Steering's had some work done on it before, look. What else? Ooh, back to school for fitting those split pins. Yeah, we'll have to knock those tab washers over. I don't know. Needs a bit of work doing to it, doesn't it? Would you buy it? Depends on the price, doesn't it? It really depends on the price. The shock towers look good. That's interesting. But would I buy it? I'd have to say no, not for me. And this is the biggest problem. Buying a good 25-year-old vehicle is very, very difficult. You know, Defenders have been thrashed around for years and years and years and poorly maintained. I don't know. It's difficult to say. I mean, you're going to have to get this into top shape again, to good, you know, reliable shape. You're going to have to spend some money on this. How much? Don't know. I don't know what the customer's budget is. And this is why Defenders are so expensive, because they've had so many repairs done on them in the past. You know, if you can find one with a new chassis, it's like having a new spine fitted. You know, it'll last you a long time, so then there's a good ground to build things up. It's not bad, but this is handy for like a guy who does things himself, if you see what I mean. But when you're paying somebody else to do this work, I don't know. Oh, look at that. Yeah, this guy on his first day welding must have welded those brackets in there as well. Not very good at uphill welding. Oh, and he's welded it to the bumper. That's interesting. That would be a bugger to get off. Right, I'm going to sign off this now because it's rambled on long enough. But I haven't checked the wheel bearings, I haven't checked anything. All I'm doing is having a look round, see what you would see when you're looking at a potential car. And it's down to you whether you pay the money or just walk away. Remember, you know, it's your money. Once you've paid for it, it's yours, and just be careful. Alrighty, we'll see you later. Bye bye.